You are welcome to yet another episode of LFN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly, real name Robert Sylvester Kelly, also known as the R&B King. SONY RCA together with Universal Music Publishing Group UMPG are largely remembered by fans and supporters of R. Kelly for their unthoughtful move to drop his partnerships with the companies, and therefore his music during the early stages of his current legal ordeals. The record companies did not wait to learn whether R. Kelly was actually guilty or innocent as alleged, and quickly breached their contracts with him when they set him loose basing on rumors and suspicions. While Sony dropped R. Kelly publicly, allowing the whole world to know this through the media in early 2019, Universal Music Group had already done the very same thing a lot earlier but rather quietly, and very many people did not get to know this. Just like Sony, UMPG also ignored the contract they had with R. Kelly and prematurely suspended their dealings with him, even though there was no real basis for such a decision at that time. Their move to drop R. Kelly meant the dissolution of their partnership with him, and UMPG therefore should not be running R. Kelly's accounts or making decisions on how his money is spent. The company was in fact obligated to hand over everything that belonged to Robert, including the already accumulated funds in his royalty account on contract termination, something they didn't do. The company was supposed to ask R. Kelly for personal account details onto which they should have deposited his royalty funds right after the premature contract termination, but because they were part of this whole plan and knew exactly what kind of judgment was coming from Chicago, they held onto these funds. R. Kelly now has all the rights and reasons to sue UMPG, first of all for the premature termination of his partnership against the terms of reference, and secondly for their continued involvement in his personal and business dealings, even in the absence of the binding contract, engaging in illegal custody of money that belongs to him, and assuming powers of attorney to make remittances off his royalty fund even in the absence of any sort of partnership with him. Why would a company that dropped him like a hot potato in the hand hold onto his money for all this time, yet he needed it for his bail application and nothing was issued, and later become the key player in determining how it's spent in the absence of a contract? This is not acceptable, and R. Kelly should be warming up and preparing to file major lawsuits against these companies for their scavenger-like conduct. And in case he actually files suits against these companies, they will have to cough millions in damages, so they ought to be careful. There are definitely many people wondering what UMPG is, what their primary role in the music business is, and what makes the company so powerful as to frustrate R. Kelly's efforts like they did. I am sure many people know the music streaming company called Spotify. Well, Universal Music Group does own shares in Spotify, and through this, they are able to control a lion's share of the streaming business. By dropping R. Kelly, therefore, it was as good as Spotify dropping him, as everything else tied to the breached contract becomes null and void. Not long ago we saw attorney Jennifer Bonjean sue against the act by the Brooklyn Federal Court, where Judge Ann Donnelly went out of her way and ordered the garnishing of his prison commissary account, from which approximately $28,000 was illegally confiscated. Even without R. Kelly declaring he was not able to pay the required amount, and without registering any sort of default with regard to the payment, the court proceeded to garnishing his prison commissary account like they were above the law. The entire legal process against R. Kelly has been characterized by a display of utmost impunity, first by the law enforcement, then the district federal judges, and now the record companies, which believe they still own him even after prematurely terminating his contracts with them. Why would they be keeping his money and making the decisions of how it's disseminated on his behalf when all partnership avenues were closed off? By way of impunity, there are so many legal mistakes the team against R. Kelly has entered into, mistakes which R. Kelly's camp can choose to exploit and open up multiple lawsuits to a point of compensation. The companies had better calculate their moves and ensure they do the right thing by law. Otherwise they may end up having to compensate R. Kelly millions of dollars for making multiple legal mistakes they may live to regret. According to Robin McQueen, I am glad the government, together with these selfish companies which played a part in destroying R. Kelly's 30-year career, are finally getting exposed for who they truly are, and most especially for their shocking disregard of the law. They have proved to be heartless, wicked and evil, yet not willing to take any responsibility for their actions. Even after Bonjean exposed their illegal actions, none has come out to make things right. Thank God for Bonjean's role in exposing their legal errors and selflessly fighting for R. Kelly's freedom. There will come a time when these entities will regret their current actions when they are eventually made to pay for all the damages caused. It's a matter of time. We simply have to wait on. According to Barbara Jones. Indeed, these so-called record companies are playing with fire, abusing their contracts with R. Kelly. The way Sony dropped him with no regard of what the law says and several months before he even had the chance to go to trial was not in accordance with any corporate laws I am aware of. Only YouTube did it right by waiting until a conviction was available, however wrongful it was, before dropping his channel. Those who preferred to base their prejudice on predictions and breach their contracts with Robert prematurely will be paying the price sooner than later. And as if that was not enough, they are still determined to break their pledge by making decisions on how his accumulated royalties get paid out. It's a shame on them, and hopefully soon they will be paying for these unlawful actions. When I think about all this, I wonder just how an artist is able to juggle all these concerns at the same time, having to worry about his music, his competition, his haters, and also his record company at the same time. It appears that the music companies are a musician's first line of enemies to deal with. SONY and UMPG have shown us just how ready they will be to sail an artist out to his enemies when a crisis of this nature breaks out. It appears there is no amount of loyalty to expect from these money-making machines when faced with a testing situation as the one R. Kelly is currently dealing with. The good news is this creates an opportunity for new companies to thrive for as long as they can take time to review the values failing the existing entities, and start theirs with a purpose of altering the status quo. If you wish to take part in a live interview discussing any of these topics, let us know by sending an email to sashalfnmedia@gmail.com for scheduling. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.